Do you need help with marketing, new clients, or online reviews? Massage Book is your solution, streamlining all the challenging aspects of your massage therapy practice. This powerful software simplifies scheduling, payments, and marketing, allowing you to focus on what you do best, helping clients live better. Plus, sign up now with code ABMP50 and get $50 off after your free 30-day trial. Visit massagebook.com, create an account, and transform your practice today. That's Massage Book with code ABMP50 for $50 off. Don't wait. Give it a shot today. Introduce your clients to Myco Clinic, a new pain relief powerhouse for musculoskeletal pain relief. Myco Clinic topical pain relief products are the first to combine the anti-inflammatory benefits of functional mushrooms, including reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps, and shiitake, with proven analgesics, menthol, and camphor. Our ingredients work synergistically to offer deeply penetrating, rapid relief. Myco Clinic is available as an ointment, cream, oil, and roll-on, available exclusively to healthcare practitioners. Get your free 10-pack sample of Myco Clinic ointment by visiting myco-clinic.com/get-free-samples.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the ABMP podcast, a podcast where we speak with the massage and bodywork profession. I'm Rachelle Clauson.
And I'm Nicole Trombley. Rachelle and I are longtime massage therapists, and we write the Anatomy for Touch column for Massage and Bodywork magazine.
And when we aren't writing or massaging, we're busy studying in the dissection lab and teaching. We are the co-directors of AnatomySCAPES, a continuing education company for hands-on professionals.
In fact, we're gearing up right now for our next in-person dissection course called Journey into the Matrix. It's our deep dive into the structure and organization of the fascial system, designed especially for massage therapists. Click on the link in the show notes to find out more. We'd love to have you join us.
And the reason we're so passionate about bringing massage therapists into the dissection lab has everything to do with today's topic, feeling anatomy, your practice in 3D.
And if you listen to our first episode in this 3-part series, then you've got a good understanding about the challenges and triumphs around the essential skill of seeing anatomy in 3D.
And if you missed it, don't worry. You can go back to it before or after listening to this next step in our thought journey. Today, we get into how important it is for us to be able to feel anatomy with our touch.
I could talk about this topic for a month. There is so much to it. Being a skillful feeler is a huge part of what we do in the massage room. And beyond being a good palpator, there's another idea worth discussing here. That is how our touch influences what anatomy our clients feel.
Right. The people on both sides of the massage are feeling the client's anatomy. So let's talk about them both. Let's start with this idea of how our touch guides our client's awareness through their own anatomy, and then get into the topic of how we can get better at discerning the specific tissues under our hands. So sit back and relax with us as we start our discussion with a story.
Of course we do.
We love stories. The setting is a brand new high-end hotel just before its grand opening. All the staff are new hires, and it's training week. As you may know, large hotel spas make a great deal of their revenue on retail products, which is especially effective if the products are used in the treatments. This hotel was no different, and they had already designed a full menu of massage and spa treatments using their new high-end skincare products and custom scents. Essential oils, fancy eye masks, and creams had all been woven into each massage service, including the 90-minute massage with a full-body sugar polish treatment. This is where things started to get a little sticky, literally. Clearly, the company that produced the products hadn't tried out their idea to just mix in sugar to the lotion they wanted to use as the base. If they had, they would have found out that water-based lotion dissolves in sugar and, yes, makes a sticky mess. So here we were, a group of a dozen or so therapists trying out the product in real time as we practiced on each other. And we were all quickly discovering the same thing. Sticky, sticky, sticky. I can still hear the goopy sound it made as we would lift our hands off and the hilarious laughter that would follow.
Oh my gosh. Couldn't you have just changed to an oil base instead?
That would have probably been the smart thing to do. But the menus were already printed and the plan to use this lotion was already fixed. Management told us there was no option for us to change it. We had to make do. As we continued playing with the mixture and trying to figure out how in the world we could make this work, we got really analytical about it and asked each other for feedback about where it felt the most sticky. And what we discovered was, as long as we followed the stroke all the way to the end and slid off the body part without ever lifting our hands off, the receiver couldn't perceive the stickiness at all.
Interesting. Really?
I know. We were a little surprised too. As long as we avoided movements that revealed the tackiness on their skin, they didn't know it was there. They only felt what we showed them with our touch. So here's the message that I took away from this whole experience. In bodywork, we as therapists have the ability to create sensations for the client or mask sensations based on how we touch. Or, said another way, our touch guides how our clients feel their anatomy.
Oh, I'd like that. Write that one down. Our touch guides how our clients feel their anatomy.
It's so interesting, right? Speaking in terms of the clients feeling their anatomy, the tissue we were most creating a feeling in was the skin. The vibration of the sugar as it swirled through the lotion, and the sense of stickiness, or not, in the way we ended each stroke.
Well, let's take that a step further and consider other examples of how our touch guides our client's awareness. I immediately think of how different types of massage pull our attention to different tissues.
Definitely. For example, in receiving a massage during my training for Zen Shiatsu, I was always amazed at how aware it made me of my bones. All of the full-handed compressions rhythmically sinking in and lifting out of my limbs helped me feel the skeleton in a way that I was not aware of before.
Yes. Even in the prenatal bodywork I do, we work with the bones of the pelvis with a similar type of intentionality. Often, pregnant people have experiences receiving massages from therapists who are tentative, who might be working too lightly out of fear. But with proper training, you learn how helpful deep work can be, including mapping out the space of the pelvis at the level of the bones, both for pain relief and preparation for birth.
And so, conversely, I also often perform foot massages with shea butter and a vitamin serum at the end of a heated paraffin wrap. The glossiness of the serum and the squishiness in the feet created from the heat make them feel like soft butter all the way through. As one of my long-term clients dreamily said after receiving the treatment, "Where did the bones go?"
I love that. That's so great.
I know, it was funny, but he really nailed it. The softness in his feet from the heat and the lubrication and the way I was massaging completely directed his attention toward how pliable his feet were and away from the hard bones, which was obviously beneficial and, interestingly, the opposite of what we just talked about in shiatsu and the prenatal massage work. These are just a couple of examples of how massage helps us feel our anatomy in a specific way. So much of what we do helps change our clients' self-awareness and self-perception, doesn't it?
It's true. It's true. As massage therapists, we possess a unique opportunity to serve as a facilitator of awareness. So much of our daily activities either keep us on the go or living in our heads, thinking our way through life. The time our clients spend with us on the massage table often is one of the few moments they get to stop and actually notice how their body is feeling.
So true.
Our touch can kind of serve as a kinesthetic flashlight that illuminates the story living in their body, helping them see themselves, bringing light to the darkness, if that's not too poetic.
Not at all. I really like that. It's actually a beautiful way to put it. I mean, when I receive bodywork, I often giggle to myself at some point during the session because inevitably there is a moment when the therapist will touch a part of my body that I have somehow forgotten about. In my head, I will say something like, "Oh, hello, elbow. I kind of forgot about you." And sometimes it's an even more obvious thing, like my legs or my entire arm or my toes. As they move around my body, the therapist's attention becomes my attention. Anywhere they pause, I pause too. And I wonder what they're feeling there, which makes me ask myself, what am I feeling there? And sometimes I find out that I am holding tension in places I was not even aware of.
I think so many of us have that experience. Similarly, have you ever laid down and then realized even though your head is resting on a pillow, you're still kind of holding your head up?
Oh, very much so. And you don't even realize it until you tell yourself to let go and then your head falls back like another 2 inches. I like to view massage as a guided meditation. The therapist's hands take me on a journey through my body and I follow them, thinking only of what they are touching and asking myself the question, can I relax this tissue or body part more? How about now? How about more still? It's a very effective method for me, and I even teach it sometimes to my clients that say they have a hard time knowing what to do or how to relax during a massage.
No, and that's such a good way to describe it. And it's what we want for our clients, which brings us to our next idea in this thought journey. If our clients are following our touch, then how skillfully, intentionally, specifically we touch probably has an impact on their experience.
When it comes to guiding our clients through their tissues, it's more than just pacing and pressure. When we really understand the anatomy of what we touch, it changes everything.
Like your life, or at least we think so.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into it a little more specifically.
What does it mean to feel anatomy as the practitioner? As we talked about in part 1, seeing anatomy in 3D helps a lot. But even more so, if you can feel it, you take in the kinesthetic understanding of its dimension, volume, depth.
Learning to recognize anatomy through touch is really different than by sight.
Nothing's color-coded, for one.
Well, that's very true. And the boundaries are oftentimes much less obvious than they're drawn in the books. Muscles are buried within a whole network of other structures, covered up by squishy, even less defined fascia and fat, vessels and nerves. When we massage, we are interacting with many qualities of human anatomy that are less emphasized in standard anatomy education, but are essential for hands-on therapists. We need to know not just what things look like, but what they feel like, and how the tissues feel in our hands is everything. Think to yourself for a moment what you feel when you engage in your client's tissues. Like, what are you looking for with your hands? Are you looking at all? A lot of times we close our eyes. It's all about touch. How do you know where you are on the body? What textures are you feeling? And what do they tell you about your client's body that day, and even how you're planning to design your session for them?
And these are great questions. In our dissection courses at AnatomySCAPES, we offer 3 categories to help us analyze what we're feeling when we're learning to really feel anatomy in 3D. We consider tissue density, tissue texture, and the overall tissue organization.
So let's talk about density first. What is there to know about the different densities of tissues?
Well, one way to think about tissue density is based on how tightly or loosely packed together the components of tissues are. For example, adipose, one of my favorite tissues to talk about, is typically going to feel much less dense than the deep fascia beneath it, especially in areas such as the IT band or the thoracolumbar fascia.
Well, and deep fascia can feel much more dense than muscle, which is important to be able to distinguish. For example, a dense fascia may be mistaken for a tight muscle.
Ooh, such a big topic. And bones are going to feel much more dense than muscles. Being able to distinguish between these very basic categories of tissues is a great place to start.
Yeah, and our listeners may be wondering about tight muscles and how they fit into this story. What would you say about that?
No, it's a good question. And that's really the next level of analysis. And it moves beyond just understanding the anatomy of where things live, but what condition a tissue is in at any given moment in time. Also a big skill. And one that we develop more easily once we really understand the anatomy and what is where in the body.
That's what is where. Have you ever, for example, had a rather green therapist that's attempting to run their elbows up your erectors, only to be too far lateral and press too hard and just thump across your ribs.
Ouch. Holy electron process, Batman. No, dense on dense. Or have you ever had someone inadvertently go after your first rib as if it were a muscle?
Unfortunately, yes. Anatomy understanding is so essential. I even know of a friend who had a very swollen lymph node massaged as if it were a knot in his muscles, not with good results, I might add. The essence of what we're saying here is that it is essential that we can distinguish between tissues with our touch, so we are massaging the tissues we intend to, in the way we intend to, and not cause harm.
Exactly. Well, let's move on and describe what we mean by tissue texture.
Mm-hmm.
Tactile texture, by definition, refers to the patterns of variations found on a solid surface. Even though we're feeling textures that are beneath our client's skin, it's still our skin's nerve endings that are perceiving them. What are the kinds of textures we're feeling, and how do they inform our touch?
Specifically, we're talking about things like the smooth elasticity of skin or the squishy bubbliness of the adipose. Ropey cords and threads of tendons, veins, arteries, nerves, all these things are very palpable.
Oh, and add in the lumps and bumps of the dense muscles, bony landmarks. Being able to feel these very varied tissues independently and how they fit together in the whole allows us to perceive them with great precision in our clients.
And this translates to more sensitive touch and better perception of our clients' bodies. The essential skill of understanding anatomy as a massage therapist means we are not blindly pressing our way through tissues, which leads us to our third category to consider when thinking about feeling anatomy: tissue organization. Without being able to feel the full organization of the tissue layer, we can inadvertently cause harm to the tissues we are less aware of because we're not paying attention to them.
For example, let me share an experience. I was once pretty bruised by a chiropractor who was working on me to help with some hip pain. She knew her anatomy, but as she was trying to get to my piriformis, she didn't really acknowledge all the tissues lying above it. So using quick, sharp movements, pointed thumbs, she dug in. Not sure how helpful it was for me, but it makes me wonder if she had been thinking about the skin and the honeycomb architecture of the adipose tissue and how all of that's connected in with the fascicles of the gluteus maximus muscle. This is the structural organization of the tissue. If she was thinking of that instead of just going after my piriformis, maybe she would have worked a little bit differently to get through those layers and not just blindly be shoving through the layers, causing injury to the tissues that lay on top.
Right? I mean, understanding all of this stuff that's in between and what it feels like, such as, like you said, the adipose, the connective tissue, the fascia, it fills in the blanks of everything you're massaging, understanding all the anatomy in its holism.
That was a lot. Who knew there was so much to talk about? Feeling anatomy.
It's a lot, for sure. But let's just summarize, really boiling it down to two basic ideas here. Number one, our touch guides how our clients feel their own anatomy.
And number two, feeling anatomy in 3D as the practitioner includes being able to distinguish anatomical structures and tissues through their density, texture, and overall organization.
And one of the very best places to study this is in the dissection lab, because you get to feel the tissues and structures in isolation, helping you feel them separately with more clarity, which translates directly to when you work with them in the whole. If you've always wanted to see more and feel more in the dissection lab, but you weren't really sure where to go or who to study with, we encourage you to check out our programs in San Diego, where you can study with us. In a nurturing, respectful, and relaxed environment, we provide you with beautiful study materials, interactive lectures with 3D model making, and a gentle entrance into the dissection lab space where you get to see and feel unembalmed tissue for yourself. We guide you every step of the way.
It's a really rewarding experience that will change the way you touch. And for our October 2024 Journey into the Matrix workshop, Allison Denny from Rebel Massage is joining us to bring your new understanding back to the massage tables for a day of hands-on application after the dissection lab.
And she's bringing her amazing body butter, of course, with her for us to use too. So we have lots of surprises in store for this workshop. If you want to join us for this amazing event, please connect with us on our website and see if there's still space available. Go to AnatomySCAPES.com/matrix. That's like landscape, but for anatomy, AnatomySCAPES.com/matrix. We would love to have you join us.
But even without the dissection lab, you can still raise your awareness of how the different tissues feel just by letting yourself focus on them in this way.
Yes, because awareness changes everything. And once you start thinking about tissues in this way and get the anatomy in your touch, you begin to feel more.
And so will your clients.
If you'd like to share your thoughts with us about this episode, please feel free to email us at info@AnatomySCAPES.com. That's all for now, but tune in next time for part 3 in this Your Practice in 3D series as Nicole and I focus in on tissue relationships. It's going to be a good one. I'm Rachelle Clauson.
And I'm Nicole Trombley. Thank you for listening.